Please like our videos, share them with your friends, and lastly, subscribe to our channel. The introduction of coffee to Britain in the 17th century marked the beginning of a significant cultural and social transformation. Coffee, initially viewed with suspicion, quickly became a popular beverage that influenced many aspects of British life, from social interactions and intellectual discourse to commerce and global trade. Coffee first arrived in Britain in the mid-1600s. The beverage, originally from the Middle East, was brought to Europe by traders and travelers who were fascinated by its invigorating effects. The first coffee house in Britain opened in Oxford in 1650, followed by another in London in 1652. These establishments quickly gained popularity, attracting a diverse clientele eager to experience this exotic drink. In 1675, King Charles II's ministers issued a proclamation to suppress coffee houses due to their perceived evil and dangerous effects. The proclamation stated that coffee houses were places where idle and disaffected persons gathered, leading to the spread of false, malicious, and scandalous reports that defamed the government and disturbed the peace of the realm. The ministers believed that coffee houses promoted idleness and were potential hotbeds for sedition and treason. King Charles II himself was concerned about the political discussions and plotting that took place in coffee houses, as they provided a space for intellectuals, merchants, and politicians to gather and exchange ideas. The ban was an attempt to control the flow of information and maintain political stability, but it faced significant resistance from the public who valued the social and intellectual benefits of coffee houses. Despite the ban, coffee houses continued to operate clandestinely, and the popularity of coffee only grew over time. The attempt to suppress coffee houses highlighted the tension between authority and the emerging public sphere, where free exchange of ideas was becoming increasingly important. The rise of coffee houses in Britain marked a new era of social interaction. Coffee houses became hubs of conversation, debate, and intellectual exchange. Unlike taverns and inns, which were often noisy and rowdy, coffee houses provided a more refined and sober environment. Patrons included merchants, writers, scientists, politicians, and philosophers who gathered to discuss ideas and news. One of the most famous coffee houses of the time was Lloyd's Coffee House, which later evolved into Lloyd's of London, a prominent insurance market. Coffee houses also played a significant role in the spread of information, as many served as venues for the distribution of pamphlets, newspapers, and journals. This facilitated the flow of ideas and contributed to the development of a more informed and engaged public. The popularity of coffee and coffee houses had a profound impact on Britain's economy. The demand for coffee led to the establishment of coffee plantations in British colonies, particularly in the Caribbean and South Asia. This created new trade routes and economic opportunities, as coffee became a valuable commodity in global markets. The coffee trade also spurred the growth of related industries such as shipping and insurance. Merchants involved in the coffee trade established networks that facilitated the exchange of goods and services, contributing to the expansion of Britain's commercial empire. Coffee houses became centers of intellectual and cultural activity, fostering an environment where ideas could be freely exchanged and debated. This period, known as the Age of Enlightenment, was characterized by a surge in scientific discoveries, philosophical thought, and literary achievements. Coffee houses provided a space for thinkers like Isaac Newton, John Locke, and Samuel Pepys to engage in discussions that would shape the intellectual landscape of the time. The cultural influence of coffee houses extended to the arts as well. Many writers and artists found inspiration in the lively atmosphere of coffee houses, leading to the creation of literary works, paintings, and plays that captured the spirit of the era. The rise of coffee houses also had an impact on social norms and gender roles in Britain. While coffee houses were predominantly male-dominated spaces, they represented a shift towards more inclusive and egalitarian social interactions. The exchange of ideas in coffee houses contributed to the growing emphasis on reason, equality, and individual rights, which would later influence movements for social reform. The introduction of coffee to Britain in the 17th century had far-reaching effects on the nation's social, economic, and cultural landscape. Coffee houses became centers of intellectual and commercial activity, fostering an environment of open dialogue and innovation. The impact of coffee on Britain extended beyond mere consumption, shaping the nation's history and contributing to the development of a more interconnected and enlightened society.